Hello, and welcome to our crash course on memory retention. We're going to give you 5 tips to retain anything that you've learned. It could be a stranger's name, a place, or your academic studies. We guarantee that these principles can be applied. At the end of our very brief lesson, you'll come to see the truth of Mr. Wooden's words. So let's begin. By seeking to retain information, we are essentially trying to create what psychologists refer to as explicit memories. If you want to remember something, and even more so verbalize it, it has to become an explicit memory. But creating these type of memories requires conscious effort. You must not only pay attention, but have intention to remember. So let's get into our 5 tips. Tip number 1, the only F word is focus. We've already hinted at the importance of attention, but we have to elaborate. Your focus is crucial to encoding or getting the information into your brain correctly, so you must do all that you can to ensure that it is at its optimum level. Minimize distractions, get a quiet place to study, and make sure that you are well rested and alert. Tip number 2, analyze, but don't memorize yet. Never attempt to memorize as you study. This interrupts the encoding process. Instead, make notes of certain questions or thoughts you might have as you read or listen. At the end of your learning session, go back to those notes, and if there are any questions, try to answer them based on what you remember before comparing your answers to what you've read or heard.
You can do this several times, spaced over several days. In other words, repeat it. This strategy is called distributed practice. Number 3, share it like the gospel. Always attempt to teach what you have learned. Share it with someone and have a discussion about it. This can be a friend, a family member, or anyone willing to listen. What happens is, as you speak about the topic and relay the information, you are also hearing it for a second time. That repetition or relearning allows you to learn and retain the information more quickly as you would have already been exposed to it. Tip number 4, the more personal, the more you will recall. It is proven that our retention of a certain thing improves if we attach a personal aspect to it. This is called the self-reference effect. We are more likely to remember something if it affects us or interests us. Now, how do we make the things we learn more personal? Here is an example. Let's say you're learning about black panthers. You read that they are one of the strongest tree climbing cats. How do you make that personal? Well, let's say you were a fan of Chadwick Boseman and you loved his portrayal of the Black Panther in the movies. Let's also say that you were devastated by his death. You can link that feeling or that experience to what you are learning about Black Panthers. That way, the next time you are prompted about Black Panthers, these images might cross your mind and you'll remember that they are one of the strongest tree climbing cats. Finally, tip number 5. The repetition is the mission. You have to repeat what you have learned for it to become a part of your long-term memory. Tony Robbins once said that repetition is the mother of skill. If you want to remember something, you want it to become almost automatic to you, you have got to repeat it. You've got to rehearse it, implement it, do it over and over. Keep repeating the spelling of that word, the words to that song, those definitions at the end of those chapters. These 5 tips, before long, you won't even have to think twice to recall them. And those are our 5 tips. We've hoped you've enjoyed our presentation, and don't forget that you can explicitly remember explicit memories. Thank you.